So your business is starting to grow like wildfire. You've now started to build your own selling and sales pro team. And all of a sudden, all these people start coming back to you and they start saying, hey, I had this objection. Well, in this video, I'm going to walk through 3 really, really simple and easy steps that anyone can follow if and when you're starting to build your sales team on how to train your sales teams on objections. What's happening, Sales Ascender? Sean here. I am back. It is Thursday. I hope you've had a wonderful week. Thursdays are the best days to close deals and to prospect. Statistically speaking, over the past 20 years, I've been doing some research, and I just can tell you that if you're not doing the sales activity today, get to it. So let that be your reminder. But today I'm going to walk through how to train sales teams on objections. I think a lot of people could use this. And even if you're just getting into it yourself, this is still going to be really valuable for you. So today's question actually came in from Jen. Jen asked this. She said, Sean, my sales pros keep coming to me with the same objections, and I'm tired of telling them the same thing over and over and over again. Well, it's a great question because I've had this happen to me several times when I'm building sales teams. And specifically, the biggest time that it happened to me that got really challenging was one of the first times I ever got into network marketing. And I started building my team, and I got to about 50 people in my downline, and they kept coming. We would meet every single morning. All 50 of these people, well, not all of them would meet, between 15 and 20 would meet with me on a daily basis. And it got to the point where it was deafening. It was like the same objection over and over and over. And I was just like, I can't handle this. And so what did I do? Well, I was like, well, how could I? First, I went to my mentor, my coach, and I was like, what should I do? And he gave me a couple of tips and pointers. But then I came up with this cool little idea. I was like, well, what if I built something called a vault? So the first step is this: build yourself an objection vault. Well, what's an objection vault, Sean? Well, an objection vault is this. After you've had, either you're doing the sales and you're going out and you're prospecting, you're talking to all these people, and you start getting these objections. You're going to start seeing the same ones over and over. And then a sales pro will come on board and they're all going to get some of those objections. They're going to be the same. There's going to be some overlap. And so what I do every time we have a new sales pro that works for us is I say, look, you need to build out an objection vault, meaning take a piece of paper. Every time you get an objection, write down what it is. And then we monitor that over about 2 weeks and we figure out like what are the common ones that happen most often. And we distill that down into a place where we know, hey, these are usually the 5 to 7 most commonly asked questions to our team. And then what I would do as the leader is then turn around and go film a quick 1 to 5 minute video on how to handle that objection, the exact things that I've said that have allowed me to get through that, get around it, over, under it, or whatever, to make sure that a prospect can say yes. And so I would film the video after they did the research and said, these are the objections. So it feels like we're doing it together as a team. And then I'd say, here's my videos, watch how I answer this. Now you need to go and build flashcards with your answer. I don't want them to build videos yet, but I do want them to write out the objection and then sit there and write down on the flip side of a flashcard their answer, what they wanted to say. I go over this with them. I make sure that the wording is good and everything else. And once we've got the answer on a flashcard, then I say to them, look, you need to put your own video in place of the video that I put in the vault for you. And so now the sales pro is gonna be like, okay, cool. So he or she films their own video, and then they either replace my video or they just put it right next to it, and you put my name in a different column. So it's like, here's how Sean answered this, here's how Kyle, here's how Angela, here's how whatever, and your whole sales team. And what happens is you build this thing. It gets amazing because now you have this vault where any new sales pro that walks into your business and they start seeing like, oh, these are the questions and these are how all the team answers the same question. Guess what? You don't have to do that training anymore. You don't have to answer that question anymore. And so Jen, if you're listening to this, like, you're good. That's it. That's all you have to do. Once they've built the flashcards, there's something to writing it down. And then when you write down the answer, it sticks into your brain. I read that in a bunch of books of people that are way smarter than me. And so I did this for myself. I started building flashcards and I would test myself and I would test myself. And that brings me to the third step is this: role play, right? You're going to have a sales team meeting, or maybe you only have your own time and it's yourself at the moment, but find somebody that you can role play with. If you can't find somebody to role play with, speak into a video, record it, and then watch it yourself again for reactions, and then make your own self critiques. But when you have the meetings during the week, whenever you do, our sales team will typically meet on like a Monday and then on a Wednesday and then sometimes on Friday if necessary, but typically twice a week now. When we first started, it was a little bit more often than that until I got familiarity with them answering the right objections in the right way. And I would always sit there and say, okay, give me your flashcards. And I would grab their flashcards for the role play. And then I would pretend to be the prospect and I would say it and I'd flip their flashcard over and I'd see how close they got to the answer that they wrote down. And we drilled this over and over and over again until every single sales pro to answer every single objection exactly the way they needed to, and they had the resource. And so this allowed me to collapse timeframes in training new people, but also give me a reference point to when my sales pros are coming back saying, oh, I forgot how to answer. Go back to the vault. Where's your flashcard? Pull it out. And this allowed our team to grow at a much faster pace than any other team that was in that particular network marketing business. And that's the secret, right? So if you are training a sales team of any sort and you're wanting to know how to train sales teams on objections, well, the answer is very straightforward and very simple, is what I mentioned. So build yourself a vault. I just walked through how to do that. Make your sales pros build flashcards, or build flashcards for yourself. If you have objections and you know what they are, like, definitely do that. And then find someone to role play and practice that with. I remember another quick story. When I first started selling, like, I didn't know how to set appointments and I was really bad at it. And it wasn't until my dad told me, hey, go to the library and read a book. And I picked up a Tom Hopkins book and I got to, like, I don't remember what chapter it was, but there's this little line in there. I was like, oh, I've never heard this before. So I'm going to memorize this. And I took the book home, I rented it, and I stood in front of the mirror and I started saying that line over and over and over and over. And first it was just mechanical. And then I had it memorized deep in my soul. And then I said, okay, now it's mechanical. That's the science of what I have to say. Now I'm going to pour some art on the top of it. And that's when people say, like, there's a science and an art to sales. There totally is. There's the structure, there's the infrastructure, there's the rules, there's the systems, there's the flow you got to follow, the process you have. But then once you understand the fundamental foundation of that, the next step is now to pour some of your magic, your art, your personality on the top of it. Because guess what? People buy from you. They don't buy from a company, they buy from you. And so that means we have to become the best version of ourselves and to portray what's possible and give those people that inspiration and that encouragement to make sure that they can move forward in the path that's going to give them impact with your product or service. And guys, that's it. That's all there is to it. 3 steps to exactly on how to train sales teams on objections. You've just been tuned up. This was an awesome sales objection series. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm so looking forward to seeing you next time.